I was born to buy gear. Hey, my friends, welcome to my vlog, gear vlog, episode 1. And really excited to start this new series. My intention is to put out one of these videos a week. So hope you enjoy it. This first vlog entry is going to be about Gerber gear. I have pulled from my Gerber collection, and I have the majority of my Gerber products here in front of you. And some of the things that I have are duplicates, and there's probably a few items that are kind of buried into kits that it's just very difficult to get to. So for the moment, this is going to have to represent my collection. And I don't have a large collection, as you can see, but it is it's kind of more of the higher value items, in my opinion, that I've selected from some of their offerings over the years. Gerber makes some very, very cheap and inexpensive items, and some fairly high-end stuff too. I wouldn't go so far to say that they're like over the top, custom level, but they have some things that they do produce. And so they have like a pretty good range of product offerings. And so I just wanted to kind of show that for the average person like myself that's on a budget, that you can get a few things and they're pretty good. Overall, Gerber's isn't that bad. Now, I wanted to say first off that the items here at the time served a certain purpose. And that purpose was mainly for everyday carry or for bug out bags or for just other kit systems. And so with that, I have to say that they were kind of purposely purchased for certain reasons. They weren't just kind of randomly purchased. And I think that's kind of a good thing for all of us. Now, there are people who just look at something and say, wow, that's so cool. I would like to have that just because it looks cool. But I think there's also probably more of us like myself that say, hey, I think that this knife would be good for everyday carry or, for this or that. And you select it for that purpose. In my estimation, I've probably owned a Gerber knife going back at least 15, 16 years ago from the time of filming this. And my first few Gerber knives, I actually sewed. So I don't have them to show you. But I think that the oldest one here in front of us is this paraframe. And it's working just fine. In fact, you can see there's another one. This is a newer version. This is just a few years old. This was kind of bought or purchased on a whim. I don't really even carry the paraframes. It was just kind of something that I ran into at the store. And sometimes, when the price is right, it's hard to kind of walk past those opportunities. But I want to say that overall, I prefer the U.S.-made Gerbers. And to me, it's just they have a little more attention to detail, fit and finish, and the materials typically are of higher quality. And I think that for the most part, it's the blade steel. And sometimes you get your choice of blade steels. For example, even though this is a discontinued item, the Gerber Metolius, came in different blade steels. And this was one of the ones that was a special edition that I got from Smoky Mountain Knife Works years ago. And this was made in a D2 steel. So this is a D2 and leather sheath, and it's really nice. Just a really nice overall blade. I also like this blacked out U.S. made. This is the Prodigy, and that's very nice as well. And there's other U.S. made Gerbers here in front of us. You got these two here, the Sharkbelly and the Order, and so forth. So it's kind of one of those things that once I kind of got my hands on a few U.S. made Gerbers, I haven't really purchased any of the Chinese Gerbers or any of the other stuff since then. So that's just kind of what I've done. And so I like the overall designs for the most part of some of the new offerings from Gerber. And I hope that they continue that process of, refinement and bettering their product line. So I'm really excited about the future for Gerber. Now, at this point in the vlog, I want to just show you some other examples of other brands that I would also recommend that would, supersede the actual selection of Gerbers that I've purchased. And of course, most of these have come after I have purchased some of these, not in all cases though, because as you know, recently I picked up the Sharkbelly and the Order. And so those are recent, and I'm just to mainly try out, the new offerings. And they are pretty good for the money, especially since I got them at a very deep discount. I don't regret those at all. But I must say though, that overall, especially when I compare it to other offerings that I have, they fall short, and not like in catastrophic ways, but there's big differences. The first would be, and I've had this for a while, this is the Spyderco Bird Meadowlark 2. And as you can see, it's in the relatively same size and weight class as these here. But the fit and finish is just better. And the blade steel is on par with some of these, no problem. In fact, this is actually potentially cheaper depending on where you buy your other Gerbers and stuff, but could be the same price to even cheaper. And so I just want to say overall, it's a very good option. Don't look past the Bird line from Spyderco. But if you say, hey, I just want a genuine Spyderco, well, the Delica 4, this is the full flat ground version in this gray, is awesome. Yes, they're averaging around $70 at the time of filming. Sometimes you can get them in the 60s if you really watch for sales, but it's really worth it. In fact, I would trade all of the folding blades here for just this knife. It's that good. The blade steel is better. The fit and finish is much better. Just the overall ergonomics is better. You're paying more, but you're getting so much more. It's just an amazing thing. So yeah, the Delica 4 by Spyderco. If you want something larger, the Tenacious. I still have not found anything in this size that really is better. And I've looked. In fact, I've purchased quite a few things in the past. As you know, I have a very large collection, and that's not to be bragging. A lot of my knives are more budget minded, so it's not like I have all these expensive knives, because I don't. It's just that I have a lot of knives. I have some cheap knives, some mid-quality knives, and just a few really nice knives, but most of them are kind of like, good quality, high-value knives. That's really what I'm into. And this is kind of the definition of that, the Tenacious. I think they average between $40 to $45. And there's like a ton of variations, different colors, blade configurations, and so forth. This is one of those knives that you could customize yourself and make it just a kind of a one-of-one type of knife. This is just a really nice knife. It's so smooth. It's so nice. The blade still isn't that high end, but it's done right, and it holds an edge for a long time. I've taken this camping, and through the whole weekend, I was just really on the border of actually abusing the knife, and it kept the edge the entire time, and it kind of blew my mind. So it gets high points with me. Now, in terms of a fixed blade, because I don't want to kind of, forget some of this going on here. We have different kinds of knives. The Kansbol by Mora Knives is a winner. And, I think this at the time of filming is averaging a price tag of around $32 to $34. Not bad. But sometimes you can score big on this knife. And I got mine for $25 on Amazon. Now, that's an extreme deal. It's very difficult to find for that price. And it was only for that price for just a few hours. And then they sold out. But, yeah, it is possible. And so if you're looking for a camp knife and, the Prodigy or the Strong Arm is just a little overkill. And it is to some degree. Not just in weight and size, but, I'm just talking about just how thick it is and if you can go with something a little bit less heavy duty, and I would say this is somewhere between like a light duty and a medium duty knife, in my estimation, just from what I've seen in my use. This is a great knife. If this is still just a little too heavy or just even a little too expensive, then don't be afraid to go with one of the companions. Now, Mora makes lots of variations. And I mean, not just in colors, but I'm talking about materials, carbon steel or stainless steel. Then they have them in heavy duty variations, so they have thicker, stock. This is not a full tang knife, but it really is durable. I mean, for a light utility blade, you just can't go wrong. So if some type of a hunting or skinning knife is maybe from Gerber is just a little bit too much, man, this can do a lot. Now, this would not be like the most perfect skinning knife, but to deal with a lot of the applications of outdoors use, this would be one of my top picks, especially if you're out fishing, you need to clean a fish and things like that. Now, in terms of a belt sheath knife or a pocket knife or especially a neck knife, now this Ghost Strike really is something that I've been using for a while now. But I think another alternative could be this Mora Eldris. Now you can see that the cutting edge is just not as long as the Ghost Strike. But when it comes to the use of this Ghost Strike, yes, it's very flat, and it's almost too flat. Well, it is. For me personally, it's not comfortable at all. This is, to me, only a self-defense blade. And so it's just so thin. It's just, good Lord. You can get a grip, but it's really unnatural. Now, in contrast, even though this would probably not make the best self-defense weapon, this thing has some of the best contours, and it's so comfortable. You get your whole hand on this little knife. It's just a really little knife. So, yeah, there are different uses, but man, you can do so much more with this, than with the Ghost Strike. So I'd still say, the Ghost Strike is great for self-defense, but it's kind of a large package just to be hanging around just for that use. And so if you're looking for something a little smaller, but something you can use a lot more throughout your day, then, the Eldris is the way to go. And don't also forget the CRKT Minimalist. They come in different colors and also blade configurations as well. And, this thing is super thin, just like the Ghost Strike, but the contouring is so much more natural that it just feels perfect. It just, at least in my hands, it feels perfect. In fact, let me just pop one out here, and I'll just show you that it's just, it's one of my most favorite knives for that reason. I would love to get a custom in this particular, configuration here, or this particular knife offering. And so, yeah, so this is just like an A+ knife. And let's just go ahead and just quickly push it next to here, and we can look at the blade length. It's almost exactly as long as the Eldris, but it does fall short of the Ghost Strike. Let me just make that a little more even here so you can see. But in terms of just concealability, though, it's going to be a lot more impressive and easier and more practical to have this small sheath than this large Ghost Strike sheath, especially if you're neck carrying. So that's something to consider. And if you don't mind the smaller blade for self-defense, then, the Minimalist is another option. So anyways, I just wanted to bring up these particular other brands to talk about and to kind of just highlight because even though there are some things that Gerber makes that are very good and they're on point for certain applications, there's obviously other options out there. And it's good to kind of consider those. So hopefully this was of value to watch this. If you like this video, leave me a comment and tell me you like this and that you, want to watch more of this type of content. Give me a thumbs up, share the videos. If you have a website, you're more than welcome to share this video on your website or, to leave a link, on social media for others. I want to thank everyone for your ongoing support, and I'll catch you soon.